season, and we have a pair of 6-2 teams fighting for the top spot in the GMC. It's Lakota West and Oak Hills. We're here in Westchester Township. We'll get you started with the game of the week next on Chatterbox Live. Happy New Year and good evening from Lakota West. I'm Geoff Kim and this is 2020. Trace Fowler to join me in just a moment. The Firebirds enter 2020 winners of 3 in a row with an 88-50 blowout win over Farrell, Pennsylvania last Saturday. The GMC's leading scorer, Julian Mackey, led the way with 20 points, 6 assists, and 5 steals. Meanwhile, the Highlanders ended 2019 with a win of its own, defeating Lake Catholic last Saturday, 64-47. Adonis Canaris led all scorers with 21 points. So as we bring in Trace, first and foremost, Happy New Year. The Firebirds, like a phoenix, have risen from the ashes this season at 6-2. Lakota West has already surpassed its win total from a year ago from 5-18.
Yeah, I think it's been a tale of two seasons, if you will, obviously, and I think some of that obviously comes from Mackey and the fact that he's come back to the Firebirds and they've found some firepower, if you will. And ultimately tonight they're going to go up against a quality opponent, someone that's at the top of the league with them in Oak Hills, and there's not going to be much of a surprise with the Highlanders.
Absolutely, and defense has been their calling card that for the Highlanders, giving up only 48.5 points. If Oak Hills is going to win tonight, they're going to have to defend incredibly well against a team shooting darn near 50%.
Yeah, I think it's, we talk about this, what seems to be all the time when it comes to the games that we call, and ultimately, styles make fights. And early on in this game, we're going to figure out who's going to be able to dictate what each other want to do. West is going to try to push the tempo. They're going to try to create turnovers. They're going to try to make this game in the 70s, maybe even the 80s. That's not going to happen with Oak Hills. They're going to try to play in the 40s. And if they really, really liked it, perhaps they play even in the 30s. But again, you can like both styles. You can say one's better than the other. But at the end of the day, it's going to be whichever side's going to be able to impose their will on the style of play will win the game. And that's what's great about sports is we get to find that out here soon.
Both teams near the top of the standings. In fact, the only team ahead of them, technically going in, is Lakota East by virtue of an overall record. They are 8-1. Lakota West and Oak Hills, they also are 4-0, along with Lakota East in the conference, but they have 6-2 records. Something has to give tonight, and it will be contrasting styles, Trace, as you mentioned. One team likes the offense, the other team likes the defense. Oak Hills averages just about 52.5 points a ball game on the season. Lakota West, a little different story. 75 points a ball game. They can really fill them up, and they scored 88 in their last game last Saturday.
Absolutely. Another thing, West really has a lot of diverse talent in different age groups, right? They're going to play freshmen tonight. They're going to play sophomores tonight. As is the other side, Oak Hills is just really, really senior-laden, right? They're going to play a lot of seniors, a lot of juniors that have experience, and sometimes that can play into your favor, sometimes it may not. But ultimately, it's really going to come down, can some of the kids that have not played a lot of varsity minutes in big games, in big GMC games, can they come through for the Firebirds, or will it be the senior-laden class that knows what they want to run, and they're going to run their motion offense until you basically bleed out, if you will? Will that prevail? We'll find that out here soon. And like I said before, perhaps the best thing is that we do have a little bit of a crowd tonight. Hasn't been that way all year for us.
We expect a good one here in Westchester Township, and it should be a good one. Field goal percentage. I want to talk about this, Trace, before we head to a break. Field goal percentage. Lakota West, as we had mentioned, shooting just darn near 50% from the floor this year. 49.8%. Oak Hills shooting 46.5%. As we will wait here, and we'll take a timeout here. This is the game of the week here on Chatterbox Live. Just a few moments on the start of this one here at Lakota West as they host Oak Hills in a battle in the GMC. Two of the top 3 teams in the league this year. And let's go ahead and get to the starting lineups here in this one as you're seeing them on the floor getting introduced. And first for Oak Hills, and you see a three-guard set. Actually, you do see Adonis Canaris as a guard as well, but he'll be playing up front and Trace a very upperclassman-laden team.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said before, just briefly ago, will the experience ultimately, prove out to be the difference? We'll find out.
And as far as the home team, Julian Mackey is the league's leading scorer at about 22 a pop, and it's more of a traditional style offense, but this team has a lot of size, and they have some speed to go along with it too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they're going to run through Mackey, as we talked about before, and you even mentioned before the broadcast. Is it going to be something as similar to LeBron James-esque? I don't know. Unfortunately for us, we haven't been able to see both of these teams play, and tonight we'll be able to kind of figure out if that's how the Firebirds are going to want to play. Will they run through Mackey all night long? I don't know. I think in my mind they're going to try to push the tempo, get turnovers with a little bit of full court pressure, try to get it to where it's a 10, 15-point game, and then force the Highlanders to try to play outside of their style and score points quickly.
So both teams about ready to get set. You see West here on the home whites. They have the black numerals with the red trim. It's the black uniforms tonight for Oak Hills. They have the red trim and numerals as we're just about set to go. Both teams incredibly efficient shooting from the floor, as we mentioned right to the break. Just about 50% from the floor this year for West, 46.5% for Oak Hills. The head official is John Sagers. He'll bring the ball to the center jump circle. The ball is tapped and taken by Oak Hills, and away we go, right to left. A little stop and go, Dietrich. And now plays Ramstetter.
Good drive.
Guard, and first blood drawn by Oak Hills by Cam Brandt, 2-0.
Good little dribble drive right there and got to the lane relatively easily.
Brandt averaging just about 8 points a ball game. Putting on the floor is Carter Combs, and it's an offensive foul.
We'll see if West doesn't decide to try to start with full court pressure from the very get-go, and it looks as if they're going to set up a little bit of token pressure.
Man pressure to get started. 2-0 here, just about 40 seconds underway here in this one. The head coaches, by the way, if we get a moment here. Oak Hills, nice touch pass around the arc. They play back up on high. Cam Brandt. Here's a jumper from long range. Knock it down. Adonis Canaris.
Big time shot, and that's one thing that the Oak Hills really wanted to do, as we talked about at the beginning of this, is can they dictate it early and get ahead? So far, 5-0.
Combs. And they play it around the arc. Julian Mackey, the conference's leading scorer, has it up high on the right. They dump it inside, and we got a whistle inside as well. They were looking inside for Brady Weber, and he drew the double.
First team foul there, and we'll see if they don't try to make a point of emphasis to toss the ball inside, as they do have a little bit of a height advantage in there.
Brandt picks up the personal. Team fouls even at 1. Weber down low on the block. The shot put up, no good in the lane. The rebound goes to Brandt, and here comes Oak Hills up by 5. Kellen Dietrich up, curl cuts into the lane, to the rack he goes! And we got a timeout.
Not very good team defense right now by West, really. It's just been one pump fake, a dribble drive, and 2 lay-ins for him, and then outside of that, it was a wide-open three-pointer that they found the bottom of the net. Next thing you know, you find yourself down 7-0, and you have to take an early timeout. But ultimately in the huddle right now, I think you're going to hear some calming words and try to let them know that there's a long basketball game ahead of us and not to get too down here.
The game that we had in the last decade, I kind of thought I'd bring it up this way. Of course, we had the Carroll and Baden game 2 weeks ago. And Baden had gotten off to a similar lead. They had gotten off to a 5-0 lead. They called the timeout. They had, I believe, a 7-0 lead before Carroll broke ground on there. And then Baden boat raced them out to a 29-9 lead before things settled down.
That they did, and it got out of hand a little early. And Carroll tried to make a game of it late, but they just...
Combs a straight on 3. He knocks it down, and the drought's broken.
That's one way to get right back into the game, is use the almighty 3 ball.
averaging 15 and a half a ball game, 7-3. Here's a straight on three, and they answer the other way.
Oak Hill said, who are you talking about scoring 30 and 40 points?
Fouls out of bounds, will head the other way. The head coaches in this one we didn't get him a chance to mention. Jim Leon for Lakota West in his 27th year, 370 and 236. Mike Price for Oak Hills in his 28th year, 412 and 253. So you want to talk about distinguished coaching records. There you
absolutely. Go. Been around this game for a long time, both of them have.
Brandt
good
looking
pass.
Inside. Oh, beauty of a high-low in the finish.
They just do what they do, and they are tough to guard.
Dietrich with another bucket, 12-3 in favor of visiting Oak Hills. Mackey, a straight on three, no good. So an empty possession on the one and out. Spin dribble into the forecourt for Brandt. He lost it. And it's a 2-on-2. I think they're going to have to wait. Oh, now here's a secondary. A three off the corner, no good. The rebound, here's the putback, and good. The missed shot initially by Fishman, but Bain Allen scores.
There's this half-court trap, and we're going to try to speed this game up. Oak Hills is going to play into it, and they just keep on knocking them down.
Wow, a three off the left side for Dietrich. He's got 7 quick.
My
15-5.
They haven't missed.
No, and it's the first double-digit lead of this ball game. Here's Mackey, a 3 ball off the left side and a foul. Will he get 3 shots?
Yeah, definitely. He's going to get 3.
So a similar start to the game we saw 2 weeks ago. Trace in that Baden-Carroll game. We already see a double-digit lead with 4:33. And it's back to a single digit as Mackey's to the line. He's a He gets them both. And then waiting another one. So Mackey is a 87% shooter at the stripe this year. He rims out on the back end. 15-7 with 4:30 left to play here in this first quarter. The ball handler's Cam Brandt. Leaves it for Dietrich. Actually, Dietrich has it now. And now back on over for Brandt. They keep it out on the perimeter. Here's a wide open 3 off the left wing. No good this time for Brandt. And the ball will stay up front. Tanner Murphy, as quickly as he was out of the ball game, back into the ball game. 5'10", 150 pounds, a senior. Throw in from the front court. Dietrich.
Oh,
and here's a steal. Cut it the other way. To the rack he goes. Fishman with a bucket and one.
It's a good read by Fishman, but really just a careless turnover on the Oak Hill side of it. Did a great job of finishing right there. Got hit pretty hard and might be able to get 3 the old-fashioned way.
And already 2 on Tanner Murphy, who just came back into this ball game. So a little run here of 4 points. We'll see if Fishman can make it 5. He does. Back to a 5-point contest, 15-10.
Here's this tempo we were talking about. Can they break this press and run their offense?
Token pressure broken. To the rack. Cam Brandt again. Brandt with 7, 17-10. Mackey on over for Combs. The top 2 scorers on this team stuck at the elbow. Mishandled by Alex Afari, who is one hell of a running back for Lakota West.
That's his little brother. You're thinking of the older brother. Alex plays receiver.
Well, we saw Alex Afari wave off the back bucket attempt. If you remember the first game that you and I did together back in week 4, Afari had put up 4 touchdowns in the first half of that game against Sycamore.
That he did.
Meanwhile, that's the second foul on Cam Brandt, and he's going to have to sit down.
I think Alex played both sides of the ball, and I think he even played receiver and defense. Threw a lob to him there, and he wasn't ready, and turnover for West.
Ramstetter takes it away, draws the double. Playing it up front. Dietrich gets it between the rings. 3 minutes left to go here in this first quarter, 17-10. Oak Hills with a 7-point margin. Here's a three off the left side. No good this time for Austin Dennis, and they'll reset. Ramstetter thought about three for just a moment. Here's Dennis putting it on the floor, stuck at the elbow. Sets the high pick and plays it back. Ramstetter, they'll work the offense through him apparently now. Danny Flanagan into this ball game gets a touch. They throw it inside and it's tapped out of bounds. So good man defense here right now by West.
Yeah, another almost interception by Fishman, and really right now it's whether or not West can get a stop because it seems like they've been playing defense for about a minute and a half.
Ramstetter gets to entry. 2:20 to go till the end of this first quarter. 17-10 in favor of Oak Hills. Dennis has the ball up high on the left. Looks like we got a whistle off the ball. Looks like Mackey was knocked down on the low block, and he was. His opposite number, Tanner Murphy, got him, I believe.
And I call a foul. They're going to call a defensive foul on Mackey. Although he was on the ground, he must have found a reason to get a foul called on him.
On the missed shot, and the rebound to Fari up ahead. Here comes Mackey with the ball, puts it on the floor. A little stop and go up high on the right point. Skip pass over to the far side. Brady Weber gets a touch, and they'll reset up high. Here's Combs trying to make a move. Step back three. He knocks it down.
Here we go. Full court pressure by West.
(17-13). 4-point contest. Oh, a nice post entry. No bucket, but a blocking foul underneath, and we'll see free throws coming up for Kellen Dietrich.
Been a hell of an entertaining first quarter.
Yes. That's a second foul on Carter Combs, and he's going to have to come out. First free throw is good.
Checking in for Oak Hills, number 3, Cam Brandt. Firebirds, number 13, Nathan Dickerson.
Here's the second one up and good. So both of them made for Kellen Dietrich, who coming on in was 19 of 22 at the stripe this year.
Yeah, we talk about free throw shooting. We can get into that a little bit here and a little bit later, but Oak Hills doesn't miss when they get to the line.
Well, he was a steal. Coming back the other way, here's Brandt in traffic. High-low, and it's rejected out of bounds. They were looking for Austin Dennis on the post entry, but knocked away. 1:09 remaining here in this first quarter. 6-point lead for Oak Hills. Dennis fakes the entry pass. Dietrich has it. Dennis now up high on the left. I don't know if they're going to run out this clock, but the way they're playing.
Seems that way, doesn't it? I mean, once it gets down to the 30-second mark, you almost start questioning whether you should, and they're almost there now.
Dietrich just dribbling the air out of the ball out high. We're under 30 to play here in this first quarter. A quick moving one to be sure. Getting a touch is Tanner Murphy. Plays to Dennis up high on the left. Puts it on the deck, looking for a screen, and now gives it off for Dietrich. 15 seconds left to play here in this first quarter. It looks like they're going to play for a final shot, believe it or not. On the move is Dietrich into the lane. He'll go and he'd get fouled. With 4.7 seconds left to play here in this quarter.
That's why it's tough to play against these guys. You just played defense for a minute and a half, and you get a foul call. I don't know, seemed to be a little soft to a certain extent, but they go to the line. They're shooting 2 free throws, and just as we talked about them making every free throw they take, on cue they miss.
Well, they have a history right now of shooting incredibly well at the stripe. Coming into this ball game, shooting 83.7. 1 of 2, meanwhile.
We'll see what Mackey decides to do here. Is he going to dribble it and try to get a lay-in? Is he going to pull up and try to hit a shot?
Here's Mackey at the buzzer. He banks it in!
Hey, not all good shots go in and not all bad shots don't. I would categorize that in the latter. But nonetheless, it's 2016.
And we're due for a break. End of 1. Here it's the game of the week here on Chatterbox Live. (20-16) your score here at Lakota West. Along with Trace Fowler, I'm Geoff Kim. Thanks for joining us for the game of the week here on Chatterbox Live. So that bank-in shot for 3. Trace, I don't know if you're feeling particularly lucky to go play the lottery after that one, calling it, you should go and play some numbers tonight.
Well, I thought perhaps one of 2 things were going to happen. Was he going to try to drive to the rim and get a lay-in or draw contact at the end, or was he going to pull up? He decided to pull one up from the volleyball line, and many experts might not consider that a great shot, but nonetheless, it banks in, and banks are open somewhere, I assume.
Absolutely. Mackey, who had the last 25-footer, top of the key. Little 2-man game. He
Good
puts
block.
it up, and it's blocked, and we've got a whistle underneath.
Just really good defense right there by Oak Hills, and we'll see if they don't decide to start to do what they did in the latter part of that first quarter and control the clock. We talked about this ad nauseum, if you will, at the very beginning of this game, and they come out guns a-blazing, don't miss a shot for the first what seemed to be 5 minutes of the quarter, and they scored 20 in the first quarter, and we were talking about them maybe scoring 40 all game long.
Well, we've seen them score in low numbers, and in fact, if you go to their 2 losses, they had when they had lost games, they only scored 32 and 34 points. And we got a turnover. Or is it a timeout? So we got a timeout here with 7:21 left to go in this half. Charged to the home team, West. It's 20-16. And I did want to make mention of this, right? So if you look at their 2 losses on the season, they lost to Legacy Charter back on December the 7th, 44-34. And then they lost the game to Newark Senior on December 27th, 43-32. In that game, they scored as many points as there were minutes. The fact that they have 20 right now tells you that they're up to the challenge right now and at least firing away, at least hitting the long threes too as well.
Yeah, and some Highlander fans might point out the fact that when they played Western Hills, they won 77-71. So, we always get the devil's advocate that people want to say, well, we're not always this way. Well, I'd say that they prefer it in the 40s than the 70s, but we'll find out tonight as a long 3 is on its way.
No good. Here comes West trying to dig into that 4-point deficit.
I'd like to see Mackey drive the ball, yeah. That's what
to the rack he goes and in. Will they count it or will they count it on the floor? They will count it. He'll go to the line.
Yeah, I just think that he has an advantage quickness-wise on the perimeter, and if he can utilize that at just a few times, it will open up that jump shot. Last time, he just took a jumper and it got deflected, largely because they were not fearful of him pulling that down and driving the basketball. He did just that there and finds a chance to make a 3-point play.
Austin Dennis picks up the personal, and he does. And now we see full court pressure. Mackey has 8. 20-19. He's accounted for the last 6 points of this contest. They double in the backcourt, and nearly turned over. Here's a 2-on-0 break, and here's a lay-in. Ramstetter with the bucket. His first points of the night.
Great job right there, getting the ball inside. They got an advantage in there. I was wondering if they were going to take advantage of it. They did just there.
22-21. Pressure broken.
Good
And
pass.
intercepted,
Fishman,
take
I
it
tell
away.
you what, man. I don't know how many steals he has this season. We can dig that up, but my man is just all over the floor, getting deflections on defense.
Fishman trying to set the high screen for Mackey. 1 point contest. They'll look for another screen and get it. Comes behind it by Afari and dumps it off. Afari puts it on the deck. He throws one up. No good. Little stop and go for Kellen Dietrich up into the forecourt. 2 minutes gone by here in the second quarter. 22-21. Oak Hills with a 1 point lead. Dennis with the ball up high on the left. Checked by Afari. Dietrich. Now they dump inside. Here's the kick out. A straight on three. It's no good. It's chased down by Fishman. Into the forecourt he goes, waiting for the rest of his troops. Plays Mackey with 5:30 left to go in halftime. He long three again!
He's got to guard that man from anywhere on the floor. I couldn't believe he pulled that. He obviously has the permission to do that whenever he'd like.
Only from 22 feet for that time. First lead of the ball game for West. And it's quickly broken, and we got a tie ball game. So Ramstetter gets his second bucket of the night. First tie of the contest. Ball's thrown away.
That it is.
So we've had one lead change in this ball game. Our first tie of the ball game, coming with 4:55 left to play here in this first half. Knotted up at 24. Good one here on a Friday night in the first Friday of January 2020. Cam Brandt draws pressure, and they throw it up front. Dietrich, a little feed inside, and it's stolen away. Weber took it away, and here comes Mackey with the ball up high on the right. Will he get another three attempt? He draws the double. He dumps it off for Weber. He pumps from 10. It's no good. The rebound put back Afari.
West is starting to dictate the tempo in this game. Question is, can Oak Hills find a way to beat the press and then run their motion offense? It's either really been, once they beat the press, they get a lay-in. Problem with that is you're right here again. You're just forcing the tempo. That's not what Oak Hills does.
Murphy missed, and here comes West. Mackey into the lane. He lost the handle, and it's loose on the floor and stolen away. Brandt comes up with it in traffic. Oh, pretty high-low pass. The post entry is good. Adonis Canaris gets his first bucket, actually his second bucket of the night. Mackey, a baseline three, no good. Rebound, put back, no good for Dudukovic, who's into the ballgame. Nathan Dudukovic.
That name rings a bell around here.
Absolutely.
Which, when we have time, it seems like I asked you before, which Dudukovic do you talk about? It's not just one.
We got a second tie of the ballgame. Not up at 26. Fishman stole the ball, but it's off his hands and recovered by Oak Hills.
He's just got a knack for finding passing lanes and jumping them passing lanes. And Fishman doing a great job on the defensive end, but
a high-low for Dennis.
Yeah, just a lack of communication. I don't know if Fishman thought he was going to switch, but just an easy drive to the lane and a pass, and there you go again. Another easy lay-in for the Highlanders. Hadn't had to make really an outside shot in quite some time.
Fishman, Mackey, and now the kick out. Here's a baseline three. It's a little short. So no good for Brady Weber, and here comes Oak Hills up by 2 with 2:39 left to play till halftime. 28-26. Good job of on-the-ball defense by Mackey. Canaris. And now here's a three ball on the left side. No good for Dietrich, but the putback is good.
Yeah, second chance points, really. And again, the
Dennis,
Highlanders just keep continuing to find ways to score near the basket.
Dennis got the bucket. 30-26. Here's a baseline three. Knock it down.
There's that name again.
Dudukovic gets his first bucket of the night. Averaging 6.5 points a ball game. He's just a freshman.
Yeah, as the student section likes to point out anytime the young one makes a play.
Dennis draws the double up high on the left, dribbles out of it. Here's Brandt on the dribble drive, and it's blocked away.
A little bit of fatigue right now in West's legs. It just seems as if they're...
Oh, here's a straight-on three. Knock it down.
My God. I tell you what. As soon as I thought that perhaps they were going to slow it down because it looked as if they're just a little bit of winded going up and down, Mackey just says, forget about it. I'll put it in the bottom of the net.
He's got 14 in this ball game, 32-30. But just about 1:10 left to play here in this first half.
Beautiful half of basketball.
We've enjoyed it, that's for sure. Under a minute to play this first half. We'll see if Oak Hills, much like what they did in the first quarter, plays for a final shot.
I don't see that here. I could be wrong, but I think West is going to try to force them into taking a shot.
Ball's taken away. Dukovic got it, and now we'll leave it for Julian Mackey. And we'll see now if West plays for a final shot. He's taking his time up into the forecourt.
You know, I thought for sure the first game of the year we did together, I thought for sure we had seen the Conference Player of the Year. I'm second guessing that. And that's nothing to do with my man over at East in Johnson. But Mackey's putting on a show.
Nate Johnson put up 34 in that ball game against Princeton.
If you're Oak Hills, you got to get out of his hands, and they're doing just that. But they got it to Dukovic.
And here's a three from the corner, no good. The rebound, and we'll see if we get a shot at the buzzer. We will not. The ball was triggered late by Cam Brandt, and we've come to the end of this first half. Your score after one half of basketball here at Lakota West, the Firebirds own a 2-point lead over the Highlanders. This is the game of the week here on Chatterbox Live. We're at the half, 32-30 in favor of the Firebirds over the Highlanders. Along with Trace Fowler, I'm Geoff Kim. Thanks for joining us. It's the game of the week here on Chatterbox Live. So we're just mere moments away from the start of this second half. And one of the things that we had mentioned coming out of the last break is just the strong play, the strong shooting play of Julian Mackey. And I think, if nothing else, that 25-footer that he had at the end, at the buzzer, at the end of quarter number one, that set the tone for the second quarter. And I think that's, without that shot, we don't have a game. This is still an Oak Hills game, and maybe even by double digits at this lead without that shot.
Well, that shot felt like it was a big momentum swing there for the Firebirds, because it almost seemed like the entire first quarter Oak Hills did dictate the game, and they were having success. And you look up at the scoreboard, and I think at that point, you know, we have the numbers in front of us. It might have been a 4-point game.
After one quarter, Trace, it was 20-16 in favor of Oak Hills, and so it's been a 6-point swing in the second quarter.
Yeah, I mean, you go into the second quarter down by 7, or you go into the second quarter down by 4. 4 sounds significantly better, obviously, but at the end of the day, I just think from West's standpoint, they're going to have to continue to try to pressure Oak Hills and get them to shoot early and often, and continue to really survive behind Mackey and have a few other guys, whether it be Fishman, whether it be Dietrich, hit a couple big shots from the outside.
As you see here, both teams back on the floor, and away we go here in half number 2. Ball handlers Cam Brandt, checked by Fleming, and dumps it off up high on the right. Ramstetter gets a touch, and now Canaris. They dump inside. The shot put up, no good for Brandt. An empty possession, and here comes West. Mackey, one of the best scorers in the conference, got the first touch. And they work the ball around to the near corner. Returns it up high on the left. Combs, who's back in the ballgame, he had to sit a lot of minutes in that first half after getting saddled with 2. Mackey up high on the right. Combs now gets a touch. 45 seconds gone by here in this third quarter. 32-30. Here's a three off the right side. Knock it down.
Hand down, man down, I should say, with Mackey. I tell you what, it looks like he's just playing in the old rec league in the YMCA.
17 for Julian Mackey. 35-30. 3 the answer on the other side, and knock it down. Canaris got the bucket to answer back. His second trifecta of the night. 3 on the left side for Combs. He knocks it down. Some home run hitting here to start off quarter number 3. Here's a steal. Fishman plays it up front to Mackey.
A little heat check for Mackey. Nope.
Combs feeling it. So is Mackey. Thinking about 3. Has 17 in the ball game. Tosses inside Afari. Mid-post. Lost the ball. Stolen away by Cam Brandt. Dietrich in the lane. Nice turnaround in the lane and 1. So we have an opportunity for an old-fashioned 3 coming up.
That we do. Back and forth, Jeff. Back and forth.
Tate Fishman guilty of the personal. So Dietrich will go to the line. Fires it up, no good. Afari the rebound. And token pressure set up. Mackey quickly breaks it. Top of the key. Combs, who got the last score for West, to the free throw lane. And now here's a 3 off the left side. Knock it down. Brady Weber.
I was going to say Weber has an advantage inside, really, with his height advantage. Next thing you know, he's stepping out, and he's going to join in on the fun with a 3 ball.
Dennis got a touch, and they work the ball around the arc. Here's a 3 off the left side, and an actual miss, believe it or not, and we got a foul underneath the bucket.
I think they're going to get Afari down low, tugging at the jersey of his counterpart, number 25, Austin Dennis.
So the ball will be played in by Brandt underneath the bucket, and they work it back up on high. Tanner Murphy gets a touch. And now here's Canaris up high on the right point, who got a 3 of his own here in this half. Dennis threw it away. 41-35, a lot of home run hitting. I mean, I got to tell you, you'd think this would be like July in baseball, and this would be a home run derby.
That's what it seems like. And speaking of home run derbies, it came out the other day that the Cincinnati Reds' top moment of the decade was a home run derby contest by Todd Frazier. That's how bad it's been for my Reds.
I can't really issue a comment.
Yeah, it's been tough.
Here's a 3. Knock it down again. Carter Combs with another trifecta.
My goodness.
Dennis got a touch, and now plays Canaris. Out on the corner, stuck there, and now we'll dribble back, and now he travels.
That he did. Extra steps, and Wes is starting to get in that danger territory as we talked about. Just 9 now, but this thing starts to get into the 14, 15-point range. It's not the style of basketball in which Oak Hills wants to play.
Mackey, Combs, who's got 2 trays here in this half. Mackey's got 17 in this contest between the circles. 4:30 to play here in this third quarter. 44-35. This is the biggest lead of the ball game for West. A high screen set by Afari. Now a 3 off the left side. No good this time for Tate Fishman.
See if Oak Hills can't find a nice, easy basket right by the rim as they were able to do in the first half consistently.
Austin Dennis has it up high on the right point.
One of these back cuts late in this possession might just be the answer that they're looking for.
Drive baseline, Dietrich. Now sends it outside. They work it back around the arc.
Oh, it's a travel.
That should have been a travel, and now here's a 3 off the right wing. No good for Dietrich. Loose ball, it bonks Oak Hills, and the shot's put up no good, and we got a foul underneath.
Yeah, it almost looked as if he maybe got rid of it in time, but it looked like an up and down in my book. But that's here nor there, and they're going to go to the line for 2.
That's a second on Alex Afari, the third team foul of this half.
While we got a second, I do want to bring up the idea that I know that you love. We've talked about it multiple times during football. How do you like these jerseys for Oak Hills? You see those numbers really nice? Nothing like the black on black with a little bit of red trim.
Got them both, Canaris did. The reason why, for those of you listening, why Trace has just dinged me on this one, here's a long-range jumper, no good. The reason why Trace has just dinged me on this is I had some choice words at halftime to talk about this. There's a dribble drive to the rack.
Yeah, some easy baskets. I think that's just the idea and perhaps the reason for a quick timeout from Lakota West and Coach Leon is just that's really the only way in which Oak Hills has had a lot of success tonight outside of the few threes is just laying the ball in. Find ways in which you can attack the basket and force West to either foul you or bring another man over, and you can perhaps then make the kick to the outside to shoot the three.
Brandt had the last bucket before the timeout, 44-39. So back to a 5-point ball game. And as we take a look over at the West bench here, if you are the head coach, Jim Leon, in his 27th year, what's the strategy here?
Well, he knows better than I do for sure, but I think I just tell them that, listen, we're going to try to control the pace of this game, and I do want you to play up tempo, and I do want you to force the hand on the defensive end, but I can't give up easy layups. That's been at least out of the 39 points that Oak Hills has scored, I'm willing to bet that maybe 15 to 20 of those, half of those points have almost come off of easy lay-ins. And just, listen, they're going to run their offense. That's fine. Force them to take a jump shot, and let's rebound the basketball and push.
3:22 left to go in this third, 44-39. And as both teams come back on the floor, a reminder to join us next Friday. Alter and Baden, and it'll be up in the Dayton area, up in Kettering. As the top two teams in the GCL will have the game of the week up in Dayton here on Chatterbox Live. Can't wait for it. Here's a three off the right wing, knock it down. 20 in the book.
I tell you what, man. He's an impressive player. Just puts the ball in the bottom of the basket.
Here's Brandt stuck at the elbow. They work the ball back outside. Dietrich has it up high on the right. Dennis the touch, and now Brandt to the rack. He goes, and shot's no good. Mackey was trying to call for the travel. Instead, it's a foul inside.
I don't think it was a travel. Certainly got bumped on the inside as we went to make his move towards the basket. But Afari, it looked like he tried to jump the route and just barely missed it.
Brandt to the line, and he nails the first. He's an 80.5% shooter at the stripe this year. Dudukovic picks up the personal. He's back into this contest for the first time here in the second half. Next one is up and good. He didn't even watch that one going. He just turned and ran back on defense.
Yeah, he knew that one was good. Just like that, 6-point game.
Afari, mid-post, throws it away. And while you can't see it from the camera angle, or maybe you could, but the look from Mackey looking at that pass was priceless.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 rows, a little too deep, and here comes Oak Hills with another easy lay-in.
And one! Canaris to the rack.
Yeah, that's just getting, to a certain extent, that's just, I don't want to say outwitted, but to a certain extent, a little outwitted, a little out-hustled, right off the inbound, cutting straight to the basket, and a great pass, and a great lay-in, and what was a 10-point lead has suddenly dwindled down to 3.
Free throw is good for Canaris, who came in as a 76.5% shooter at the stripe. 47-44. Here's Combs. Tries to put it up, no good, and a foul right at the rack. So he drew the double, decided to go into traffic anyways. The foul, a blocking call on Tanner Murphy. That's the first team foul, believe it or not, of this half for visiting Oak Hills. First free throw is good.
Won't have to worry about the bonus.
Well, if you're Oak Hills, no. At this point, no. They've played incredibly well. Not having to resort to fouls. And Combs gets them both. 49-44. Personal pressure by Mackey on the ball handler, Brandt. Dumps it off. Canaris. Tanner Murphy.
Good pass.
Oh, a nice high-low and a beauty. Cam Brandt finishes.
That's just good offense. That's what Oak Hills does. They're going to run you through screens left and right, and they're going to run their motion until they get a good shot. And another easy lay-in for the Highlanders.
Safari trying to establish position, fires it up and lays it in.
I think Coach Leon told him last time, listen, when you get the ball that deep in the lane, put that thing up and in. Don't worry about making passes.
51-46. Dietrich gets a touch. They play it inside. The double down low on the block.
Good ball.
The kick out. Here's a three. Right wing. No good.
Those are the shots you want them to take, though, if you're West. That's good ball movement, a good shot, but you just can't continue to allow lay-ins.
Mackey, and he got bailed out. It's a blocking call against Oak Hills.
I think bailed out might be the right term that you just used, Jeff, because it looked like he was pretty well established. And you know what they say, sometimes the players get the calls that the other players don't. And when you're putting the ball in as many times as Mackey is, you might just get a little favoritism, as LeBron James would tell you.
First free throw is good. Mackey's got 21. So Murphy picks up his fourth personal. Bane Allen comes back into the ball game for West. Brady Weber sits down. Mackey makes them both. 53-46. With 1:17 to play here in this third quarter. Brandt has it, gives it up, and now they play around the ring once again. Leinenkugel, R.J. Leinenkugel, who we've not called tonight, he's into this ball game. And now we've got a little hand check down on the block.
It's a good call.
They're going to get that on Afari. I don't know if he really impeded the ball handler, but the hand check was really a little too obvious not to call it.
Yeah, I do think he impeded him a little bit there. Was he trying to make the dribble drive? But anytime, as you mentioned, you got your hand right on the back of somebody and you're even tugging at the jersey a little bit, the referee has no choice but to call it, especially when you got the bench right in front of you.
Here's a three off the left wing. It skips off. Rebound, put back, and a foul. Canaris was down low on the block. He'll head to the line.
Oak Hill's just scrapping and clawing and trying to keep themselves in this basketball game. They're not shooting the ball all too well from the outside here in this third period, but second chance points and the lay-ins have kept them in it.
Fishman picks up the personal. That's his second. Canaris to the line. He puts it up and through. I got to tell you, with a name like Adonis, you have to be strong. Otherwise, you're going to get picked on.
Well,
and he's a big boy. Gets them both.
I know it's not the same name, but with all the Browns hoopla going on, it just seems to bring me up to Haslam. Not again.
Oh.
I was going to say.
In and out, and the place would have gone nuts on that one. 35 seconds left to go here in this third quarter. Oh, and the ball thrown away.
Yeah, tough break right there for Coach Price's bunch. I just think that they would have taken the last shot without question this quarter, and if you score a bucket, you're within 3 points. If you hit a three, you got yourself a 2-point game, and these are the little plays at the end of quarters that make a big difference at the end, right? You mentioned the three-pointer by Mackey. Can you imagine if they get another three here? That's 6 points in this basketball game, which is incredibly pivotal right at the end of the period.
So Mackey will take his time, 20 on the game clock.
And I'd be willing to bet my mortgage that either he's going to shoot this three, or he's going to kick out to a corner three to either Fishman or Dudukovic.
He draws the double up high. Here's a three attempt. Deep water, no good. The rebound of Fari. He puts it up low on the left, and it's blocked out of bounds with 1.9 seconds left to play here in this third.
Looks like there's a little bit of a discussion on the inside. Unfortunately for them, there is no replay. So
Tate Fishman a trigger. It goes to Afari at the buzzer, no good, and we've come to the end of three here at West. The Firebirds own a 5-point lead over the Highlanders, 53-48. This is the game of the week here on Chatterbox Live. Along with Trace Fowler, I'm Geoff Kim. Thanks for joining us here on Chatterbox Live, the game of the week. And a reminder to join us a week from tonight It's the top two teams in the GCL.
Co-ed.
And we'll see them, in the GCL co-ed, beg your pardon, thank you. It'll be Alter and Baden, and we'll see them up in the Dayton area, up in Kettering. It'll be next week, right around 7:15, or pretty much right after the JV game, but we can't wait to have that one here as well. We saw Baden 2 weeks ago, and they looked awfully impressive.
They did, and Alter, on the other hand, really has just been absolutely taking everybody and mopping the floor with them as of late. So it'll be interesting, and if anything, I hope it's as good of a game as we've gotten tonight, and I hope the next 8 minutes here might get even better.
Now, we were looking at your Chatterbox top 10 of this region, right? And we saw the two Lakota schools, and then we saw Baden in the top 10 as well. Here's a shot put up, no good by Afari. It's a charge. He got up awfully high, and it looked like that right knee came up with him.
And that was another situation I've talked about time and time again, where if you have that arc in place that they have in college, and especially the NBA, that's a block. You stand right underneath the hoop, a guy goes to make a move, and you run him over. But and I am for the arc. I don't think that you should be able to take a charge standing underneath the basket. That being said, Oak Hills took advantage of the rules and got a charge nonetheless. I do think earlier in the game they got away with a block, so it all evens out.
Dietrich gets a touch, gives it up, gets it back, and they play it back up on top for Cam Brandt. Skip pass back to the near side. Tanner Murphy back in, saddle with 4 personals.
It's like West has decided to go into like a little bit of a 2-3 zone.
And they move the pivot man up towards the free throw line, and a steal. Nice job by Mackey. Into the forecourt, a little stop and go, stutter dribble, keeping it alive, and we got a holding call. I got to tell you, he had Cam Brandt all sorts of flustered up there on the right point.
A little bit of frustration setting in for Oak Hills right now. They haven't executed on the offensive end the way that they've liked, and anytime you got to stand in front of a guy like Mackey, it's difficult.
Mackey will get the entry. Nearly lost it, gets it back. He draws a double, and now he's fouled.
Yeah, and Coach Price is just imploring to his guys that you have got to move your feet to stay in front of him. You can't reach for the ball because ultimately it's going to end up with a foul. Just as we had mentioned, we were worried about the bonus. That one foul has turned into 4 relatively quickly.
Meanwhile, Tanner Murphy exits the ball game, saddled with his 5th personal. Here's a shot for Mackey, a 3 ball off the right wing, no good.
They got numbers if you push it.
3 off the left wing coming, knock it down!
It's a big-time basket right there, and next thing you know, this thing's right. As soon as West seemed as if they might make that run, here comes Oak Hills.
Cam Brandt makes it a 2-point contest, 53-51. Minute and a half gone by here in this 4th. Ball's on the floor, lay-in is good! Brady Weber with the deuce. Pace is picked up just a little bit. Here's the 2-3 zone once more as they extend it out to the quarter court. They play to the elbow. Here's a 3 off the right wing. The high arcing shot is no good for Canaris, but the putback is good. And a timeout.
Wow. Again, another second chance points for the Highlanders and an easy lay-in. And you got to give credit to West, though. I mean, they've been playing, up and down, up and down, up and down. And oftentimes when you play a team like Oak Hills, you're going to give up second chance points. The opposite end, though, I do think Oak Hills is going to have to find a little fluidity on offensive side here in order to win this basketball game. They've gotten away with hanging around here because they've caught some breaks on the defensive end, whether it be a charge or Mackey missing a bucket. We'll see what Coach Price draws up. More often than not, it seems as if when you lay a basket in on your side, you call a quick timeout. It's to set up something on the defensive end or something you want to talk about.
6:01 left to play in this ball game. 55-53 on the last bucket by Austin Dennis. Little reset here. Both teams come in with a 6-2 record, 4-0 in the GMC. Something has to give tonight as far as an unbeaten record in conference. 2-point contest, and Oak Hills will not press. They'll play back in a 1-2-2 zone. Dudukovic around the arc. He plays to Weber, and now over for Mackey, putting on the deck, deep along the sideline, and they return it back to the near side. Combs fires up, long range, no good. One and done on an empty possession.
We'll see what Oak Hills does here on this offensive set. Are they going to run their offense and just continue to run it and run it and run it, or are they going to put up a quick bucket?
Dietrich. Austin Dennis. Up high on the left. Here's a skip pass to the near side of 3. It's off the mark. No good for Dietrich. We've gone cold here in the last minute.
They have. West decided to stay in that zone, and perhaps that's what Coach Price wanted to talk about, was how they could attack the zone.
Carter Combs, averaging 15.5 a ball game, up high on the right point. Leaves it for Weber, and a nice 12-footer.
I love Weber inside. He's got an advantage in there, and he's really skilled around the basket. You can tell that he's got, a little bit of interior post moves, if you will, and we'll see if they don't go back to that again tonight.
Tallest man for West at 6'4". He makes it 57-53. Here's a jumper from the right side, no good, and we got a foul underneath.
Yeah, another empty possession there for the Highlanders on what I would consider a quick shot. Now, I'm not saying that they have to run offense for a minute, but I just think that, we've watched it multiple times. How many times have they made a back cut and got an easy layup after they ran that motion offense for an extended period of time?
Austin Dennis picks up his second. Goes over the back of his man and trying to grab the rebound. 57-53. Mackey picks up the dribble. To Dukovic, and now out to the far side. He'd go. Fishman gets a touch, and now here's Combs up high on the right, looking for a screen, puts it on the floor, dumps it off. Weber from 15 feet away, he air mails it.
Yeah, it almost seemed as if his elbow get nicked. He didn't. You could usually tell whether or not a player thinks his elbow got nicked is by their reaction afterwards. I think he just knew he missed it.
3 off the left wing, too strong, and Mackey the rebound, and he'll take it up the floor himself.
Good
high
pass.
low. Oh, and a beauty and one. Beauty of a post entry to Carter Combs. He'll go to the line.
Yeah, as great as that finish was, and Mackey deserves some credit on that too, because that pass was just incredibly delicate, right over the defender's hands. And West makes a little bit of a punch here going in late.
Adonis Canaris, I believe, actually no, they're going to call that on Dennis for his third. Free throw's good.
Almost feels like a must score possession here for the Highlanders.
Down by 7, 60-53 against a 2-3.
They're having some problems with this zone.
Here's a 3 off the right wing, off the mark. Canaris missed the shot. Oh, a nice flow feed. High low again, and Combs answers again.
What this zone has done is it's eliminated that motion offense and eliminated the opportunity for the Highlanders to get a lot of lay-in baskets. It's actually forced them to take some open shots, just as if that one is, and they just have not made them.
Well, there's a bad pass. Well, what's the old adage? You live by the 3, you die by the 3, and you think about how hot Oak Hills was in the first quarter.
Absolutely.
And they have cooled way off.
Absolutely. The BNS game they couldn't miss, right? So it was great. They could hit anything they wanted from the outside, and so far here late in this game, they just haven't.
A straight on 3. It's off the mark. A little too short for Dukovic. Here's the ball handler, Dietrich into the lane. He drew the double. He draws the foul. Foul's on Brady Weber. That's his third.
Couldn't have brought up a better point, though, Geoff. I mean, the percentages always typically play themselves out over the course of time, as they do. And Oak Hills really did get off to a hot start, but, man, have they gone ice cold from the outside here late in this game. And that kind of feels like what's been different. The first half, that wasn't the case. That's really been the difference here in the second half.
First free throw is good as they break the drought. Got them both. Full court pressure. Mackey handles, draws the double. Throws the pass out to the near side.
And now it's going to be a little bit of opposite planning, if you will.
Here's a little hand check call as Mackey was about ready to make his move.
It's It's going to put him in the bonus for a 1-and-1.
That's number 4 on Cam Brandt. So we already saw Tanner Murphy exit the ball game due to fouls, and the free throw is no good on the front end of one in the bonus. So we got a foul coming off the ball. I have to admit, I didn't have eyes on that.
Yeah,
one.
I didn't see that either, to be quite frank. It almost looked pretty clear that it was a drive to the lane, but we're not down there, so I'm not here to argue it. And that will enter the double bonus.
So Fishman picks up his third. Austin Dennis to the line. He makes his first. 15 of 18 at the stripe this year coming on in. So he makes the first.
I almost just feel like, can Oak Hills get one quick possession and score?
Got the shooter's bounce on that. He's now 17 of 20. And a timeout, a full one charged to visiting Oak Hills, as Austin Dennis, after 2 for 2, is now shooting a cool 85% from the charity stripe this year.
Yeah, I mean, can Oak Hills find a way in this possession to force a turnover and get an easy basket? And at that point, I think you can play traditional basketball all the way through if you're Oak Hills. Just play it as the game is intended to be played. If not, though, you know, if West finds a way to be able to put the ball in the basket on this possession, you start to get in the mindset of playing outside of their traditional way of playing, which is you're going to have to force turnovers. You're going to have to hit some threes, perhaps, to crawl back into this with just 2:19 remaining. So, ultimately, like I said before, they're going to have to hit some outside shots.
Well, and I think that's what they're preaching in the huddle right now. As you look at the head coach, Mike Price, setting up plays right now, and you're trying to set up the open shot as you're saying, because you're getting those open looks. It's just a matter of execution, I believe, at this point.
Absolutely. I mean, they're getting good shots on that zone. There's been a few times where they've turned it over. West has forced a turnover when they played that zone, 2-3 zone. But they've really just haven't hit the open looks that they've been receiving, and that's something that's going to have to change for them to win. But we'll see what West decides to do. They're not traditionally going to want to hold this ball, but when you're up by 5 with just 2 minutes to go, you start to think about that, or you might want to consider it. But Oak Hills is going to force some pressure here.
Toss in will come from Fishman. Oh, and a nice job by Carter Combs taking it across the timeline. He returns it Fishman, and now Mackey puts it on the deck. Fishman gets a touch. Content to dribble the air out of the ball.
What they are. I think you got to find a way perhaps to get Mackey back out there and let him force the issue.
Ball handler handling the double. Mackey gets it on the cross court. They'll take it back up to the center jump circle.
Fishman did an incredible job over there getting doubled and just relaxed and found an open man, Mackey, on the other side of the floor.
Fishman gets a touch once more.
And this is where Trace Fowler talks about the shot clock.
1:30 left to play in this ball game. I mean, they are playing keep away brilliantly. Here's Mackey, just outside the elbow, dumps it back off for Dudukovic. Weber, and they're going to pass up the open shot. This is a beauty, a clinic. Mackey for Weber from 18, dribbles back outside. Mackey has it, and he's fouled. Wow. Austin Dennis picks up the personal with 1:02 left to go in this ball game.
Does a great job by West. They're utilizing the game, I guess, the rules to their advantage. I hate it. I can't stand it. It's not the way the game was meant to be played. You get down to the 2-3 minutes left in most of these high school basketball games, and this is what happens. I mean, this is a close game. This is a 6-point basketball game. And we're getting ready to see 2 possessions at the end of this basketball game for Oak Hills. They're going to get the ball twice without having to foul.
Mackey goes 1 for 2. Under a minute to play.
Got to hit a 3. This is it.
Here's a 3 off the right wing. It is short for Dietrich. And the ball out of bounds. It's a travel. So the ball was initially saved by Mackey, but he is guilty of steps.
Oftentimes, I would say getting a quick 2 right there is fine, but the way this game's going to go, West is going to force you to foul them time and time again, and there's a quick 2.
There's a quick 2 and a timeout. So Canaris gets another bucket to make it 63-59 with 46.7 seconds left to play here in this contest. It's a little early, I think, Trace, to talk about overtime, but it is a 4-point contest. It's still anybody's match. And while Trace ponders on that one, I will tell you that coming up next week, it'll be a battle in the GCL co-ed as Alter takes on Baden. That'll be next Friday. That's January the 10th. Right around 7:15 is our expected tip time, but it'll be after the junior varsity game. We'll have the game right here on Chatterbox Live. Our game of the week next week, Alter versus Baden. And we can't wait for that one. And in that one, you know what, I'll tell you this. I think after a lot of hand-wringing that I've had to do with my pal Trace Fowler here, I get a home game. This thing's literally 5 minutes away from my house.
Yeah, you do. Finally get one, don't you?
I'll take it.
One thing I do want to mention, because at the end of this game, people are going to be watching and things of that nature. The clock that we have is not exactly the same. We're going to get it as close as we can, but ultimately, if there's a last-second shot here, don't go running back to our clock, because it might not be the official one.
Well, and that's the point that we were making right here as we started the timeout. And the ball's entered in, and we've got a foul. They foul the ball handler, Carter Combs. That's a 9th team foul against visiting Oak Hills with 45.1 seconds left to go. Foul is on Danny Flanagan, who's into this ball game. That's his first.
It's a 64%er from the line.
So Combs averaging about 15.5 points a ball game. A great secondary shooter and scorer behind Julian Mackey this year. First free throw.
Oh, no good.
Oh.
Unbelievable. That's the difference in some basketball games.
Cam Brandt handles, looking for a screen, gets one, draws the double, tosses it on out. Here's a 3 from the right side. Knock it down! Kellen Dietrich makes it a 1-point affair and a timeout.
Bang! Had to have one from out there at some point, right? I mean, Hatton had gone ice cold for quite some time. In the second half, did the Highlanders from the three-point arc. But just when they needed it most, they found the bottom of the net. And at this point, do you foul quickly? Do you foul right away? Do you try to force a turnover? I think it's one of those things where you try to find maybe a steal within the first 5 to 10 seconds, and after that, you extend this game as long as you can.
A 1-point affair with just about a half minute left to go in this contest. It's been a beaut. We expected a good one coming on in 63-62. In a battle of two teams fighting for a top spot and a 5-0 mark in the GMC this year to try to stay at the top spot along with Lakota East, who we saw at the beginning of the year and how impressive they are. And, you know, you're talking about defensive teams. That's a team that's only averaging or giving up about 42 points a ball game. And we talked about Nate Johnson a little bit before. Absolutely. He, you know, as good as we saw him at the beginning of the year, that's how good Julian Mackey has been here tonight.
You got East, you have Hamilton, you have West. You know, all at the top. And I know I'm missing one right now off the top of my head, but these are the games you got to win the league. Oak Hills is another one.
Timeout.
Obviously, I knew I was missing one. They're right in front of me. Yeah, I think you have Hamilton, you have Oak Hills, you have West, and you have East, all vying for a championship here this year in the GMC. And these are the games. I mean, you can say what you want, but these are the basketball games that really are the difference when you look back at the end of the year. It's usually 13-3, 14-2 wins the league. This is a swing game.
It is. You know, if you want to think about the schedule that's coming on up here, first for Oak Hills, they've got Lakota East, who we just mentioned, next Tuesday. So it doesn't get any easier for Oak Hills. They come out of the frying pan and they go into the fire in a span of 4 days.
Yeah, I mean they got a crosstown rivalry here that's going to probably be popping, and then after that, you know, they still have to play Hamilton. They're still going to have to play, you know, this Oak Hills bunch again. But again, that's all off the table. Here we go. See if we can't get a steal for Oak Hills, and for West, just get it in and get fouled.
Weber triggers. Combs back to Weber, and he draws the foul. Team fouls are now even at 10 apiece, with 30.5 seconds left to play here in this contest. And we were talking prior to the ball game, Trace, how important free throws are, and they're only free if you make them. I told you these are not free. This takes a lot of time, effort, and energy in order to make these free throws. Weber is going to the line for 2. He is only 3 for 3 on the year, so not many that he's shot. That's his first miss of the year at the stripe. So we've got a very interesting possession coming up.
This is why you love basketball.
No
Here
good.
we go.
A bucket will win it.
Will they take the last shot or not?
We saw a similar scenario in the JV game. Here's a drive by Brandt. Shut off up high on the left. Now takes it to the rack. He draws the foul.
Woo!
With 17.3 seconds left to play in this ball game and an opportunity to take back the lead.
Didn't get a great look at it, but almost looked like it could have gone either way right there. Ended up getting the foul. Going to go to the line for 2. No matter what happens here, though, West has to ensure that they rebound this basketball if there's a miss.
1 to tie. No good. Wow.
I've said it time and time again, Jeff. These free throws right now are not the same. You can shoot thousands of free throws in the gym. You can do it all day long, all you want. It's not the same. I know it's 15 feet, I know the basket's 10 feet, and I know the ball's the same, but it's not.
The next one is no good! And the rebound to Weber! He turns it over! Here's Brandt to the rack, and he's fouled with 13.4 left to go.
Deja vu! Here we go again. And that is a situation, and I'm not, Weber, great player. That is a byproduct of the missed free throws on this end. I can promise you, if he hits those on this end, he is not passing that basketball right there. He gets the rebound, and he wanted someone else probably to have to go down and shoot the free throw.
We got a beauty here tonight at Lakota West. The first free throw is good. We will let the crowd tell you if it goes in or not. Timeout, and we're tied with 11.8 to go. Wow.
Wow is right.
We got our 4th tie of the ball game. No, I believe it's our 3rd tie of the ball game. Knotted up at 63. And we'll see, Trace, as we take a look at both benches. We're looking at Oak Hills right now. What do you call on defense, if anything? I'm putting you on the spot.
No, I think that ultimately at the end of the day, you got to trust your base defense, right? I mean, that's what you practice the most. That's what you say that you're going to go into battles with. I don't think you do any gimmicks. I know that sometimes you might want to try to trick the opponent, maybe go into a zone 1-3-1 or 2-3. Problem with that is, in my mind, is I'm actually, if I'm Oak Hills in this particular situation, you just got a couple turnovers down here on this end of the basketball floor. I'd almost push pressure just a little bit here at the very beginning of this, see if you can't force an errant throw to get the chance to win it into regulation. Otherwise, I fall back and I go into my defense. We'll see if they don't pick up full court, and it looks like they are going to pick up full court.
Weber to toss in. It'll go to Mackey, and here we go. 10 seconds left to play.
You got to get it out of Mackey's hands.
He draws a double. He's looking for help. He
turns it over.
It's picked off. Here's Dietrich to the left, at the buzzer. Cam Brandt wins it for Oak Hills.
Holy moly!
65-63. Wow!
Yeah, and for those questioning whether or not he got it off, didn't get it off, I genuinely believe it wasn't very close. It was close, but it wasn't really questionable in my opinion. He definitely got that ball off before it went in. I know here in the home gym, they still have it 63-63 in hopes that perhaps it'll get overturned. I don't see that happening.
What a finish!
Wow.
I mean, the pass was intended for Dudukovic. It was broken up. It was played up front. Cam Brandt got the final shot. He got it in at the buzzer, 65-63, the winner tonight. A beauty here in the GMC on a beautiful Friday evening, the first weekend in January. We are due for a timeout. We need a timeout right here. We'll come back to wrap things up here courtside. This is the game of the week here on Chatterbox Live. What a finish tonight here for our game of the week, and it truly was here on Chatterbox Live. Along with Trace Fowler, I'm Geoff Kim. We're glad to have you along in a beauty. What a way to open up 2020. 65-63 the final in this one. And let's go ahead and break down the final numbers here in this. Kellen Dietrich had 23 in this ball game for visiting Oak Hills, and then there's 11 for Cam Brandt, 2 points for Tanner Murphy, 4 points for Jacob Ramstetter, 17 for Adonis Canaris, and 8 points for Austin Dennis. Oak Hills shot 22 of 43 from the floor for 51.2%, 6 of 20 from behind the three-point line at 30%, and 15 at 20 at the charity stripe for 75%. For Lakota West, they got 4 points from Alex Safari, 23 from Julian Mackey, 19 from Carter Combs, 2 from Bane Allen, 3 from Nathan Dudukovic, 3 points for Tate Fishman, 9 for Brady Weber. 21 of 41 wore Lakota West, the Firebirds tonight, also for 51.2%. They shot 11 of 24 from behind the three-point line at just under 46%. And at the charity stripe, then this is what tells you the game here.
Absolutely.
10 of 16 at the charity stripe for 62.5%. And it came down to free throws down the stretch.
Yeah, free throws and turnovers at the end of that basketball game is really what did West in, and it was a great played game. I mean, you can sit there and say, whether Oak Hills won it or West lost it, you can pick that apart all you want. At the end of the day, these kids put on an incredible display of just toughness and grit and a will to win and a competitive spirit. And at the end of the day, I knew in that timeout that the mindset to not let Mackey beat you at the end of the basketball game was definitely what Coach Price was thinking. They doubled him on the wing, forced him to turn it over, and twice the Firebirds turned it over at the end there when they would have had a chance, if you will, to either run the clock out or get the last shot.
One other stat to pass along here. Assist to turnovers. Lakota West had 7 assists in this ball game and turned it over 12 times. 15 assists for Oak Hills tonight to 10 turnovers. And again, those little minute differences have made all the difference in the world in getting the W tonight for visiting Oak Hills. Just an amazing finish. And Trace, as we put a wrapper on this one, as we look ahead to next week, I got to tell you, Alter and Baden have their hands full in trying to live up to the way this one turned out because we had a classic tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad. It's what a basketball game to be a part of and be able to call and be able to watch and witness. And perhaps this isn't the last one we get to do between these two teams. If they're fighting for the top of the league, we'll more than likely be there at the end of this year.
Trace, glad to be a part of this one as well, and I'll see you next week in Kettering.
That's right. We'll be calling the game. Alter, Baden.
Again, the final tonight, 65-63. Oak Hills improves to 7-2, 5-0 in the GMC. Lakota West falls to 6-3, 4-1 in the GMC. Thanks to our crew tonight, Jacob Harmon, George Harmon, and Uncle Ron Fowler. We'll see you next week for Alter and Baden. Can't wait for that one in the GCL Co-Ed. For Trace Fowler, I'm Geoff Kim. Thanks for joining us for the Game of the Week here on Chatterbox Live. Good night from Lakota West.